Well, we had a big one last week, a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? Again, that today, very similar, I think, Steve. We expected United to come in and be a lot tighter than they were. As we mentioned before, 7 minutes in, they're already down 1-0. So from then on, they have to at least try and come out and play and take the game to them. But quality-wise, it just wasn't good enough. We spoke to Owen about patterns of play as well, trying to play out from the back, trying to get through midfield to a forward player. There was nothing. Technically, they were poor on the ball. They gave the ball away all the time. And it shows how far away they are when you then look at the other side, how comfortable they were in possession. The angles they made, Rodri, the angles they made, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, always in space, 1-2 touch, pass the ball. It was a massive golfing class, we know that, but does anything change? Are we really surprised by United being short of City and Liverpool? I don't think they're massively short of Chelsea in all honesty. I think they could go and beat teams like Chelsea. And I think just the same now is going to happen again. We'll struggle against the big teams. We might go on a run now, beat all the teams we expect to do, and then think we're a good team again. But realistically, you'll come straight back to this type of performance and the Liverpool performance.
And in terms of those numbers and what Paul's saying, this is an incredible stat. 13 years they've been collating those stats that we use every week, and in that period in the Premier League, that is the lowest touches that Manchester United have ever had in an opposing team's penalty area. And they were at home.
I mean, that's the biggest worry. I mean, I said to Scholes halfway through the first half, I said, they'll be happy with this at 1-0. And even in the second half, I said to him, they'll be happy with this at 2-0. And I think that's what it was, Steve. You know, it was almost like, we'll take this now. But the point is, you got to have a go. You know, you got to put some pressure on, get the bodies forward, get some crosses in the box, interchange, link. They've got so many unbelievable attacking players. Jadon Sancho, Marcus Rashford, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes. Create. Boys got to create and be brave. Before the game, this crowd was positive. They were very, very optimistic that something could happen. As Scholes said, once the goal went in, it changed. But they need to be able to do more. I mean, 4 touches in the opposition's box. Look, it was 2-0, but it felt like it was more in the game. And the thing is, Liverpool were clinical, that's why it was so high. If it wasn't for David De Gea, that probably would have been more.
Yeah, let's go back to the goals they did concede, because as Paul said, from 7 minutes in, they were chasing the game and chasing shadows at times.
Well, I'd say from 7 seconds into the game, Steve, that they were chasing it, because, you know, the way they set up, they were just never going to be in the game. Bailly, I think he can possibly be. I mean, it's not really that dangerous ball. It's coming into an area. You should be able, if you're front screen, you should be able to clear it. It was a great ball to start with from the right. You know, they've regurgitated possession. Cancelo very good off either foot. It's a decent enough ball, but Bailly should be clearing that with his right foot, slashing at it, miss-kicking it. It's very, very poor.
He's so slow to get himself back into position. He's actually strolling up to the halfway line to get in position where he can just side foot it out.
I thought one of the biggest problems in the game was Cancelo and the fact his attacking position. I mean, he got 3 assists in the Champions League midweek. Any chance somebody can come pick him up? I mean, how easy is it for the lad to get crosses in? And the problem was Bruno Fernandes had to come out and play there, but you don't want your number 10 tracking all the way back on the fullback. So they had so many issues. That's too easy at Old Trafford. How can you have that much time on the ball? Credit Bernardo Silva, that's smart. He's the one that thinks he feels that, and it's a good finish.
That's what happens with this system though, Steve. When you play against the five at the back, Foden and Jesus pin them back, then the opposition fullbacks, Cancelo and Walker today, they control the game, because there's nobody can get out to him. If McTominay or Fred try and get out to him, they just pop it into midfield. And them 2 players were absolutely brilliant on the ball today. They were almost like central midfield players, and they controlled the game from them areas.
And it'll be no surprise to hear that Cancelo and Walker had the most touches of the ball in this game. Those Manchester City fans in full voice away to our left-hand side. One of those fans is one of their players, of course. He will have enjoyed this so much at Old Trafford. Here's players, of course. He will have enjoyed this so much at Old Trafford. Here's players, of course. He will have enjoyed this so much at Old Trafford. Here's Phil Foden.
You haven't beaten your City rivals in the last 4 games. Does it make it even sweeter to put in such a dominant performance to take all 3 points?
Yeah, I think we had the game of our lives today. Everything just went right. A lot of possession, a lot of chances. And yeah, we dominated from start to finish, which is obviously really good.
There was so much of it, but for you, what went right the most?
The possession and picking the right times when to hurt them and the spacing behind. So yeah, really pleased.
How integral to the plan as well was the pinning back of their wing backs as well, which you were involved in?
Yeah, you know, me and Gabby just got told to try and press the full backs, because obviously it's difficult when they play 5 at the back. And then we had Kevin Bernardo pressing as well, and it worked.
Tactically perfect, Phil Foden says today.
They were very good. I mean, very rarely are they not tactically perfect. Let's get it right. Pep
Well, they
Guardiola,
weren't last week against Crystal Palace, were they?
No, but Pep Guardiola is a tactical genius. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's got all the best players, but Manchester United have collected a fantastic array of players, but they don't look like a team. Whereas Pep Guardiola, whatever team he manages, they've got a distinct style of play. And I think that's what you look for in a manager and a coaching team is to put your impression, your imprint on the team.
I was just about to say, so if you're Manchester United manager today, that's not a surprise to you what City did.
No, City have been doing that for years. But what is a surprise? You turn up and you see Manchester United and you don't know what formation they're going to play. They're collecting a load and load of players, all these great players from around the world, and they're going to play. They're chopping and changing all the time. I mean, you've got to have a vision. You've got to be able to see further than the end of your nose and think, right, this is the way we're going to play. No matter what, we're going to buy players for these positions, right? And now let's go and play that position. If things go wrong, if you concede 5 against Liverpool, you don't think, right, the defence is rubbish, let's just go and put one more player in there. It's ridiculous. And I'll go back to what Jurgen Klopp did at Liverpool, and he's the best exponent at it. He came in and said, this is how we're going to play. Our full-backs are going to bomb forward. We're going to have a sitting midfield. We're going to play 3 up front. And do you know what? We'll go 3-0 up, and then they used to concede 3 all the time. And what did he think? We're conceding all the time. Let's put more... No, he didn't. It's the best thing in the world because it weeds out the weak. The poor players get weeded out because they get exposed in a formation. All Ole Gunnar Solskjaer does, as soon as there's a weak player, let's cover for him, let's put even more defensive. And in the meantime, you're buying hundreds of millions of pounds worth of players. It's like, you don't do that. Weed out the weak. If you're not good enough, go and get someone else. But in the meantime, go through the pain barrier because this is how we're going to play. This is how we're going to play, no matter what. So all they're doing at the minute is just covering for weaknesses and looking at the next week. Good team, let's just play loads of defenders. Bad team, let's play loads of attackers. It's rubbish. That's not how you go about attackers. It's rubbish. That's not how you go about things. You have to have a long-term plan. At the minute, Manchester United going one Wednesday to the next Saturday, just step by step. They're a bit good. Let's panic. Let's play loads of... That's not how you do it. You've got to have a long-term plan. Weed out the rubbish if that's the case, but you've got to go through a bit of pain on the way because Man United aren't, mid-table Premier League team. If their target is the top of to win the league, then that's how they've got to do it. They're not going to do it by just us lot sitting here and thinking, do you know what? He's going to play defensive again today because he's playing against a better team. We're talking about Man United here. I can't stand there and we all agree that that's what was going to happen, but I can't accept that that's the right thing that's going to happen.
Yeah, I know what Michael's saying. A conviction has to come from your coach of a way you're going to play football. Ollie's been here 3 years now, and we're coming today not really knowing what he's going to do, as Michael said. And again, that ruins everything. That makes the recruitment almost impossible because you're not playing.